units with just the ELC side is going to be Ethernet over copper, which you're going to get your internet out of. Usually that comes out of port 1, which I have the sticker on right there, just in case. If you're going to a different port, like which would be port 3, that would be most likely for a wholesale, if you're doing it for a wholesale client instead of just a basic customer. They'll be able to let you know that on a work order. This one right here can only withhold up to 4 circuits, which this is an ADTRAN 834, as you can see right there. This one is only for a 10 meg order, but as you can see on this indication light right here, there's one red light and there's one green light at that part. The second circuit came up, but the first one is not up due to it not being connected somewhere. I don't know if it could be on the riser or it might be on the MPOE having an issue. But with that being said, for this 10 meg order, we're getting about half the speed, which we don't need any additional circuits that I verified. So if it's averaging about 5 meg per circuit, then we should be okay once that circuit's up, when the riser management can go ahead and troubleshoot that error depending on where it's at from here to the MPOE. What this pretty much connects into is the voice unit, which this only is going to be able to produce out smart voice business lines, or also it could be able to provide a PRI. Usually it would be connected here at this point, which is on your T2 port where it says DSX. That's usually what it would be if that's what the customer is asking for. On this order, it's not included. This one here is only going to provide the smart voice business lines, which we patch an Amphenol cable that comes from here, that's directed from a 25 pair into a 66 block. The 66 block is terminated. It doesn't matter which side it goes on. What I do is that I just put it onto the left side and I leave my hand off with some bridge clips, so that way when the vendor comes here, he could be able to tie in his end on this side, which I also labeled on this right here. That's pretty much it. So once we get into here, we tie into this port 1 right here for the internet. We could be able to verify our speed when the customer is able to connect that into their firewall router. And there's nothing he needs to do on this end except have his phone vendor install his jumpers onto this side. That pretty much concludes this installation.
And these are bridge clips.
And these are bridge clips, which ties these 2 sets and these 2 sets together as one across.
Mm-hmm. And one more time, what is this unit called?
This is an ADTRAN 834.
And what's the purpose? Like
Ethernet over copper.
Ethernet over copper.
Yes. Each of these circuits don't always have like a 5 meg average speed. These can vary. Sometimes you can only have maybe up to about 200k kilobytes. Each 1,000 kilobytes equals 1 meg, which sometimes you can have a lot on this. Like for this one, for example, this one already holds up to 5 meg, which is 5,000 kilobytes. Depending on how far the CO is extending to this MPOE location, that's going to determine whether or not how much speed you're going to gain per circuit. With T1s, which would connect into a different type of unit, sometimes even these units would actually always be guaranteed 1.5 meg. Any questions? Any other questions?
And then this unit.
This unit right here is just a basic, the way they configure this is going to be your voice unit, which is going to broadcast the smart voice business lines.
Okay.
It can hold up to 8 for this particular unit. This is an ADTRAN 908. They have a bigger unit that's about this long that looks really similar. That's a ADTRAN 924, and that can be able to withhold up to 24 business lines. This one right here is on the order. It's only going to be receiving 4, which means that we still have room for 4 more. If for any chance they decide to want more than that in the future, all we have to do is just switch out this unit with a larger unit that's going to be able to obtain up to 24 business lines. Sometimes if you're doing just a PRI only, which I was explaining earlier, that just comes out of here, it's basically a compressed pipe of a bunch of DIDs, what they call it, business lines, that's going to come into a hosted PBX phone system that branches out the phone lines as far as call paths. So we'll be able to get into that with an additional installation that we will do in the future when I can show you and be a little bit more elaborative on that. Any other questions on that?
No, thanks. Appreciate it. And just as a reminder, always do an internet test. Set the IPs. The IPs will be given to you. And don't forget to bring butt set and do line tests on each line that you do.
And verify speed, along with voice
Labels.
lines, and label everything that indicates where every port or anything is brought for our service and handoff.
All right. Thanks a lot, bud.